Hello, hello. We are live. Hello,
Hello.
everyone.
Hi.
Hi.
Hello, little homestead by the beach, bucket list homestead.
Oh,
Tracy, hi. Alo, Ani. Did I miss anyone? No, this is everyone will comment, and hi to everyone else. It was a good afternoon, sunny and warm. Yeah. Did everyone have the same temperature?
Probably. I don't
like
go
12
outside in the
degrees.
winter. I try to stay inside as much as I can.
I don't know.
It got up to I think 5 degrees today.
Did it?
I think so.
I don't know.
Celsius?
It's minus
I was
5.
gonna say. I was gonna say
Might have
probably
been minus 5.
-5. No, today the high was -3. You are so living in the past.
It's
Well,
at minus
minus 3 Celsius or Fahrenheit?
Celsius -3.
Oh, it's not that bad.
No,
No.
it was nice though. Like I was out working hauling wood in a sweater, and I wasn't cold other than my hands. But
Well, if it's -3 and there's no windshield, I'm perfectly okay with that. But if it's -3 and then with windshield -20,
yeah, no.
you kind of lose me there. Very windy. Yeah, we had a lot of wind here too. We actually had a warning. There's going to be like snow blown over our roads, and that's very dangerous where we live.
Yeah, here too.
Country.
I was gonna say Marilyn was saying we made ourselves clear for the event.
Thanks.
Yeah,
I missed that.
phone data again because our internet regularly when we go do our lives, our internet is so fuzzy. So last week we experimented with our phone data and we came in clear. We don't have a choice today though because our home internet is down. So
And your satellite internet.
yeah. So
Okay.
The
they
image
got
is clear.
yeah.
I
Why
find
can't-
that when you guys go with your normal live, your image is like blurry, but now you're perfectly clear.
Yeah. Last week we experimented with our phone data. So we got a new phone carrier and we've bought a phone booster. And so I think we might even cancel our home internet and just get like a big package with this because we're always using our phones like for internet.
The upload isn't near as good.
Yes, it is.
No, actually, according to the speed test, it's like at 6 megs instead of 30.
Yeah.
But the latency is like 20 milliseconds or microseconds.
I think
So you'll have issue uploading your videos a little bit.
I've done it off of our phone internet and I haven't experienced what he's speaking of. I
Okay.
find it goes faster.
Maybe you were lucky on that day, and maybe he was having a bad day on his.
Yeah, maybe we'll cancel a bill though. But now that we have hydro, we can upload overnight too, right? So
True.
Mm-hmm.
Annie, you had a storm. High 30 degrees, upstate New York. I'm probably thinking that's Fahrenheit because 30 degrees, we be swimming in
Yes.
our pool. Hello, Darren.
Hey, Thor.
Can you guys hear the buzzing upstairs?
A little bit.
Yeah.
It took 22 hours to upload my last video. Holy cow, that's a long time.
Yeah. Yep. And I just recently started uploading in 4K too. So it takes even longer, but
I won't complain when mine only takes 20 minutes.
soon. We know that the phone carrier we went with, they're putting towers near us.
Okay.
So we're hoping that they bring it in sooner rather than later so that we just do all our internet off that and hopefully wait for Elon too.
Okay. Well, at least you have a plan B.
And I find that once you get monetized, it takes a little bit longer to upload as well. There's a
Really?
whole processing and, they check your video and there's a bunch of stuff they have to do.
Well,
Yeah,
obviously they're paying you, so they're going to check you even more.
Yeah.
Which makes sense. Hello, little house by the woods. So we have a little homestead by the beach and a little house by the wood. Cute names. I love those. Yes, it snowed and strong. Okay, we only had 1 centimeters. Not bad here. Hey there, hey Darren. I think I said hi. Okay, I'm up to date with the chat. I'm gonna let you, Angie and Mike, present yourself because this is the first time you're on my channel.
Yes. So go ahead, Mike. Tell them a little bit about ourselves.
We live in the woods.
That's a simple way of saying it.
Right? I'll go back a little bit. Sorry, go Remi.
No, nothing.
Oh, I was gonna say I'll go back a little bit. So we came from just outside Toronto, and we both had good careers. And we found a gem in the making, a rundown cabin that hadn't been lived in for a few years. And so we sold our house in near Toronto, and we decided to make a go of it and see, never being up in this area, not having any kind of upbringing really in the country. But I've always wanted the country. So, and I think he wanted the quiet outside of Toronto because he came from Michigan. And so Toronto was a bit busy for both of us. And so we bought our last cabin. It was on 12 acres, but the cabin had 3. And then the other plot of land is where we are now, which is just under 9 acres. So we fixed the cabin up, not huge, but over 2 years we fixed it up. And then in the summer we sold it and moved to this blank piece of land that is what we're trying to carve out a homestead now. So
you sold the 3 acres and the cabin, but you kept the plot.
Right.
Okay.
Yep.
So you're neighbors to your old property.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Okay.
It was fun too, because when we bought the place, there was no electricity running. So the well didn't work because there's no electricity to run the well pump.
Yeah.
And with the water jacket being in the wood stove, we couldn't run the wood stove because the water jacket was dry and you'd run the break in the pipes. So we were literally camping out.
Yeah, we were brand new. I mean, we enjoyed camping, but this was
That's extreme camping.
Yeah.
We were lugging buckets of water and melting snow.
We totally were. We really were. And I mean, I don't know. It was such a culture shock to go from that from the city to that. But it was something we had to try. And
you gave up your dream career.
I did. Actually, it's funny because the day that we came up to view this on a weekend, and the day we put in an offer on the cabin, the very next day I got a call from, because I was working at a college, and I got a call from the college saying, the job you've been working years to get is open. And my boss then called me and says, go for it. It's it's yours pretty much. You just have to go through the process. And so I had to take the weekend to think, okay, do I want my dream career or do I want my dream life? And so we chose the dream life.
So you had to make a decision between your career and the offer you made on the first cabin.
Yes.
Yeah. Wow. That's a big leap of faith.
Yeah, it was, because we'd never been up to this area. It was about just under 3 hours away from where we were living, and we'd never been up here. And so we didn't know the jobs that were up here. We didn't know anything. And I mean, there's still no jobs up here, but yeah, so it was definitely a leap of faith for sure.
And the two of you, when you moved there, were you working?
Not here, but in the city, yes.
No, I mean, when you left Toronto and you came to your new cabin, the one that you renovated, you guys weren't working.
No, we didn't have jobs lined up. We didn't know any of the neighbors. Well, we kind of talked to one of the neighbors and got to know them a little bit.
Yeah.
So we didn't know anybody. We didn't know really how to run a house that was totally off grid.
No jobs. No, yeah.
No jobs. It was
nothing lined up. And there's nothing like any kind of town. So we're about an hour from Renfrew. I don't know if you know where that is.
No.
It's not a big town by any means. It's
so
not like
you're 3 hours from Toronto?
About 3 hours east.
So you're near Cornwall.
North. We
You're
are.
near Cornwall.
Yeah. So, do you know where Pembroke is?
I know a little bit. When I
Okay.
take the 401 all the way down to Toronto, I
Uh-huh.
know a bit of the names, but not all of
So
them.
we
'Cause
are
I
about
have family in an hour from Toronto. I forgot the name. Anyways, it's an hour from downtown Toronto, and I used to drive there every year, so I
okay.
know a little bit of the towns.
Yeah. So we are about, I'm gonna say, an hour and 45 to 2 hours east of Toronto, and then another hour north.
Okay,
Yeah. So
that
We're
was
gonna we're gonna go see you in May. Get ready for us.
yeah, that would be nice. Are you close from the convention?
about an hour.
Okay, I'm about an hour and 45 minutes, like
Okay.
to 2 hours, depending where it is in the city. I'm hoping I can go.
I hope so too.
I really hope so. Like, I'm convincing my husband either I can find someone to babysit all day and the two of us can go, but he doesn't really speak English, so I'm not sure if he's gonna be comfortable. Because I know Remi speaks French, Darren does not understand French, Marilyn does speak French,
Is
but
Bridget?
if I don't know if Bridget is coming. Maybe Tor can actually Darren can tell us if Bridget is coming.
Mhm.
Okay, I'm just gonna catch up. Hello, Carpenter, Self-Reliance. Hello, Bridget. Don't let Mike present himself. He's done that to me before. It's not pretty. I'm not sure I want to go down that road. Is that a warning, Darren?
Yeah.
You liked it.
I talked to Elon last week. He's kind of lost interest in Starlink. Who's that? Who's my broker? Does anyone know him?
Yeah, Mudbrooker. He we support each other a lot.
Oh, okay.
And, yeah, he doesn't know Elon. He just likes to play like he knows Elon.
He's of our tribe.
Yes.
Okay, well, hello and welcome. Hello, Ecocentric Homestead. Oh, this question is for you. Did you quit said career? Yes, obviously you did.
I did go back. So when I left, I worked between 3 departments, and so I was aiming for one department. Well, I was basically aiming to get in full time, but it was with the original department that I started with, and so I left. I gave my notice, and none of my bosses wanted me to go, and so they said, "Well, will you take contract work?" And so I did that for a little bit. I go away for the first few months for like 3 weeks and then come back on weekends. And I did that to help the transition. And I actually really do miss working at the college. So I'm still glad I chose this life, but I really do miss all my people and everything. So
contract, you would have to go to college. You couldn't do it from your house.
no, I did get offered a couple jobs that were from home, but I didn't have internet at the time, so I couldn't take them. Yeah.
Internet is actually a blessing to work from home.
Yep. I would have had so many jobs by now if we had good internet.
Yeah.
See, I'm not the only one that says talk about leap of faith. Tracy says the same thing. I know where you are. I'm guessing the message is Bucket List Homestead lives near you.
I'd say about an hour and 20 minutes from us.
Nice.
Annie wants to go also to the convention. I would be interested if you can come.
Yes.
There will be a lot of us there.
Yes, there is bound to be some French speakers, obviously. Brigitte is coming.
Yes, we finally get to meet the better, and I really do mean that, the better half.
So Brigitte is the angel and Darren is the little devil.
Yes.
Okay.
Makes sense.
Yes, Mama Homemade would be nice. Okay, I'm caught up. Okay, I did write a couple of questions. Either Mike or Angie can answer. You answered a couple, but I'm going to ask you, what were your biggest struggle from leaving your original life to your leap of faith? And maybe when you sold that to what you are now.
For me, I think it was the learning curve. We had practiced a little bit before we left the city to try and get an idea of what we would be in for, but it's still leaps and bounds more than what we anticipated, what I anticipated.
You always used to say when we lived in town, like, I'm a country boy. And then you got to the country and you're like, I'm not a country boy.
Well, it got to the point because I said, I'm too country for the city. I'm just way too country for the city. We got up here and I goes, I'm not sure I'm this country though.
Yeah.
And so, but we had to learn. So,
True. So
yeah,
were you homesteading at your Toronto location?
I did as much as I could. So I gardened in the backyard. I learned all about like making a bunch of stuff from scratch. I changed the way I grocery shopped. I did as much as I could in town, and because I always knew I wanted it, but I always said if I couldn't do it there, then maybe I shouldn't go out to the country.
True.
And so I did as much as I could there. Like I stopped grocery shopping every week, for example. I would try to stock up for a month and live off that, and gardening, preserving, all that fun stuff. So I learned.
So you turn your waiting moment into a classroom.
Yes.
That's nice.
I followed a lot of YouTubers, a lot of them.
I think we all started the same way. I watched hours and hours and hours of YouTubers. When I found out I was going to move to a small village, I think I passed 2 to 3 hours every night just watching YouTube.
Yeah.
Learning.
Yeah.
Not even understanding what homestead was. Like I had no background in I think it was just either a leap of faith also on myself. I found one video in particular on YouTube, and that video made me find all the other YouTubers I needed to find to get me where I am today.
Yeah.
And I can't even remember what I searched on YouTube.
Yeah. There was one person that I followed. I followed a lot of different channels. And there was one from Ontario. She does homestead still, but her and her husband have gotten older. So it's not a lot of the same videos, but I still love her, and I'm going to meet her one day. It's a lady called Bev from our half acre homestead. And so she had a lot of canning videos. And I think too, like I didn't know, it's weird because I stumbled upon YouTube videos. I didn't search for them, I guess. I always knew I liked the country, but I didn't know all that was entailed. And so I grew up, and I think Mike kind of did the same too. Like my mom and dad, they work shift work, and, they had to worry about income rather than, my mom canned, but I didn't get to learn canning with her. So I'd seen it growing up, but I didn't know how to even begin. And so I started with, I think a lot of people start with jam, and I started with that, and I learned so much after watching that person in particular, Miss Bev. Heather from the Needy Homesteader, she taught me how to make bread and a lot of other things. And so just watching them and learning, and I had to learn what homesteading was, because I think a lot of us dream too in fairy tale. I'd like the country.
The romantic aspect.
And that's where I was. I just pictured being in my beautiful garden in the middle of the woods, and I had to learn that it's not like that.
So what were your struggles when you arrived?
For me, I felt at home, but the biggest thing was I like routine. I'm also very spontaneous too, but I like routine, and I had to find myself all over again. I had to, you wake up every day, you go to your 9 to 5, and now I didn't have that. And so I had to find, I guess, my 9 to 5 for myself. And I had to learn to work for myself and set goals. And I really, really struggled with that in the beginning. Like when we moved to the cabin.
The fact that you didn't have running water was not a struggle?
Not to me. I was like, I found joy in that. I was like, let's go get snow. Like, who cares? I had my dream cook stove.
We were avid campers before that, though. So
okay.
Already had the basics.
Yeah. We just basically camped out in style.
Yeah. For me, like,
we upgraded our tent.
Yeah. Weren't sleeping on the ground outside in a tent. So that's the way we looked at it. Was in the beginning a big camping trip.
Okay, and then when you sold that and you start from scratch, did you have any struggle?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I think for me it's the same kind of thing. I found my routine there, and coming here, I kept up some of it because we had the animals. My struggle right now, though, I can't sleep because my sleep schedule is completely off because we're in the barn and there's no windows. And that's throwing me for a loop. Like I was still up at 5:00 this morning, and
Ouch.
yeah. And
It was
So
nice when the trailer was outside because we woke up with the sun.
yeah,
But in
Makes
here,
a huge difference.
yeah.
So you had animals at the previous cabin and then you brought them onto your lot,
Mhm.
yes,
and you are living in an RV,
yes, inside a pole barn.
and then you converted a pole barn to just put your RV.
Yeah, we built the pole barn for the RV.
Okay, that's a good. But there's no windows. You can't put windows.
We can. Like, I have some leftover windows that I got for free from somebody.
Okay.
But I'm hesitant to do so because as soon as I start cutting holes in and putting windows in, then it also will dictate what I use the barn for in certain ways.
Yeah.
True.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping to wait till we get the house up, which should be in the next couple of months. I'm hoping we'll be working on the inside of the house,
Fingers crossed.
have the steel up, and
Yeah. I think another thing we're struggling with a lot right now too is his shoulder. So he had surgery a year ago in December, and he was expecting to go in, and they thought he'd have a 4 to 6 week recoup time. And when they got in, it was a lot worse. And they said, no, you're not going to be able to work for close to a year, and you're going to have a lot of physical therapy. And so
That sucks. You have to build your house.
yeah. And
Mhm.
so, well, we did all this knowing he had a shoulder injury. And so
I also learned I must not play up the pain or how bad things are, because the doctor was like totally unaware. Oh no, it doesn't sound like it's going to be that bad. And then I
Yeah.
come out and she's like, no,
no.
no.
Yeah. Like he had bones chiseled off, tendons reattached.
Wow.
There's
Pins put in.
Yeah. So
At least you're laughing about it. That would be horrible for me to actually be knocked out for a year.
I'm more upset that I don't have a bionic arm.
That'd be fun. That'd be fun.
right.
You
He
know?
was doing great until we did put the roof on to the barn though, and once we did that, it's not been the same again. So he's back to pre-surgery pain, and so he's got to visit the surgeon again. So that right now is kind of stalling things a little bit, but
Well, at least you have help to build a house.
yes.
And you're gonna get more help in 2 months. Darren's always good at it.
Yeah.
All
that
the stuff Darren can build.
there. You know what would be really good? I we were just talking to my son tonight, and I asked him if he could come cut down trees. So if everybody wants to come cut down a tree, you can pick one and you can claim it and say, Remi was here. He cut this tree down.
We're gonna call it National Cut Down One Tree Day or Claim a Tree Day.
Yeah.
That'd be fun.
Mhm.
A lot of laugh, I'm sure.
Yeah.
What animals do you raise right now?
Well, we got goats and we had chickens and a turkey.
Did you say had?
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
So
Did you
we
lose the rest?
Yeah.
we when we moved up here, we ended up, I guess, we chose a plot for the house that is in the direct path of a fox. And so I was up at 4 this morning and I was out looking for said fox.
Yeah.
So I was hunting and saw the sunrise for the first time over our new house.
Yeah. I don't know how. So we had a fox attack, and then we had 4 chickens left, and I'm not sure how he got into the coop.
Yeah.
but both times turkey survived. So but he ended up getting into, which I still don't see how he got into the coop, but he got into the coop. And so no more chickens until we get a proper setup.
I've read when I moved here, I read about predators, and fox digs. So when you do your coop, you have to dig a trench. I can't remember if it's 8-inch or 12-inch deep.
Yeah.
And you need to put like some sort of very strong cattle panel.
Yeah.
For him not to be able to dig.
Yeah. We did that at the last property. But then we were lucky enough to get the chicken coop. The new owners let us take it. And so at the last property we went down so far and then put, it's not chicken wire. What's it called?
Hardware cloth.
Yes.
That's the stuff.
And so we did that quite a bit, and we never had any predator issues whatsoever, not even the sight of any predators. And then we moved. So it's funny the way our other house is. So even though the new neighbors are still our neighbors, they're on a different road. So we had a corner lot.
Okay.
And I don't know if it was the direction, the path, it had to come from only the woods. It didn't have any clearings to get through. I don't know that, but we are definitely going to build another Fort Knox coop, and we're not going to get any more. Although I feel bad for the turkey because she every day is out calling for her chickens, and they're not coming back. Yeah.
And just to answer to Darren, the answer is no. I did not volunteer us. I volunteered you.
He said you've been voluntold, son.
Yeah.
I missed that, so I'm gonna read. I want to go to convention too. They're bound to. Okay, I missed that. Okay, that's good. I got confused there for a minute. I have a friend that lives near Mike and Angie.
Oh.
So Brigitte officially confirms that she's the angel and that Sharon is the little devil.
Yes.
Bow. Okay.
Wow. You know, brown chicken, brown cow.
There is country, and then there is country.
Yeah, we're the second country.
It is smart to learn as much as you can before you jump in, but starting where you are with what you already have is the smartest way to start.
Yes.
I would agree with that because you would already be familiar with the land, and
well, you had partially.
Yeah.
You were like maybe 3 acres further, so you were kind of familiar, but it was still new.
Yes.
Yeah. It requires discipline and drive for sure. I agree. Did you have wood cook stove?
Yes, we did. We had our cook stove at the cabin, which we got something very similar for the new place. It's just we can see the fire burning, and it's a bit bigger because our cabin here is a bit bigger. But our old stove, it heated our water for the house, it cooked our food, and it heated our house. So it was a 3-in-1.
Nice.
Yeah.
You have to be very direct with the doctors. They only know what what you tell them. Darren, don't start the fire
in the
house though. Remi, did you? Okay, yeah. Goats.
Yes. Oh, we have goats too. Yeah.
And we have
you need to learn different ways to move that doesn't use that shoulder. Pretend the arm is missing.
Yes.
I'm very stubborn. It's like a German Dutch, and so I'm stubborn to a fault.
It is so hard to. I care more about his shoulder than he does. I'll just say that. That's a nice way of saying it. I care more about his shoulder than he does, and
it's always like that. There's always like that. I start a lot of fires in the house, Marilyn. Uh-oh. Hello, Playman's backyard. We have a trenched wire. Oh, that's what I was saying. Oh, having issues with my computer. We have a trench with wire.
Yeah.
I have found coyote tracks just off the yard. Bang, bang is standing by to scare them.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
We have a ton of coyotes. We hear them in our back field, and we can see where they have laid under the big apple tree. Ooh.
We have big bears up here too. But
I sorry.
go
I was
ahead. Go ahead.
gonna I was gonna say poor. Darren says he hates being voluntold. Hello, Simple Homestead.
Hello.
Hi.
We have our first troll.
Oh, he's gone.
Oh, he's
Been
gone.
gone
Thank you.
for like 10 minutes now.
Sorry, I'm late with the.
Oh, it's
the
okay. It's okay.
I have this class all the time. We look over and like, oh, it must be gone. Yeah, it's all good.
A mink got. What's a mink?
Mink.
Mink got in and killed
Kind
my
of like
hen.
a big ferret.
Mhm.
Okay. Now my coop with a concrete floor has metal sheets around the lower wall. That's like foolproof.
Yeah. We
I
might go
can-
for concrete. We're still deciding. So
I can see Angie and Mike cooking on a wood stove.
yes,
Like
like
Ma
Ma Ingalls. Yes,
Yeah.
that some people dream for fancy kitchen, and that kind of cook stove is something I always dreamed about. And so at first it was tricky to learn, but once I learned it, I hate cooking on propane. I hate cooking on a regular stove. I would much prefer cooking on a cook stove.
Well, it's I went from electric to propane,
Mhm.
and I cannot go back to electric.
No,
I'm sure if I do the switch to wood stove and learn all about it, like learn how to tweak it to my liking, I probably would never be able to go back to propane.
Mhm.
It's like you get so much used to it, and you put it into your routine, and you bake, you cook, and now you understand. Like that it's 355 degrees instead of 350, and I'm sure that I would love to do the switch to a wood burning stove. That would be amazing, but I can't.
It really was, and the fact that it had 3 uses for it. So we're gonna have the same setup at the new place. We're going to have what's our stove called? It's from
I don't know. You picked it out. I don't remember.
I can't remember the name of it.
Aga? Aga? Yeah.
No, it's from the Amish. It's totally slipping my mind, but it's much bigger than the last stove we had. We do have some older videos that show the cook stove we had, but one of the things I really missed from it was seeing the fire. So yeah, this one we're getting something called a water jacket, and basically when the fire's going, it's going to cook the water and send it up copper pipes and then heat the water that's in the water tank.
And how are you going to heat your water during the summer?
We might bring in propane, but at the other cabin, we always just had a small simmering fire, and it's always cooler inside the cabin. It never really got too hot. There was a few days, but we would start a small fire in the morning and it would simmer throughout the day.
So worst case scenario is going to be like a propane on demand.
Yeah.
Well, on the last cabin, there's a water heater upstairs, and it was just basically a holding tank. And so the pipes would come up, and as the water heated, it would expand and force its way up the pipe. So it would constantly circulate itself, and that was just like a holding tank. So if I can, what I'd like to do is make that a propane hot water tank. And that way during the summer, I can just switch it over to the propane.
Yeah.
And use it for a few months through the summer. And then.
So that's a fun project for you.
My projects at this stage.
I have so many projects going on at the same time. Like sometimes my head go cuckoo. And like my husband works full time, 60 to 65 hours a week. So when he gets home and I look at him and I have a piece of paper and a pen, he looks at me, he's like, "What do you want now?"
Nothing, honey. Nothing.
Nothing. But anyways, I just find it funny when I asked him to build my raised bed, and he's like, "Do I have to do it now? Can I wait? Can it wait?"
No. You know how I presented to Mike? I'll just, instead of asking, I'm like, you know what'll make me really happy? I'm gonna build myself, whatever it is. I'm gonna build myself a raised bed, and then Mike will be like, I'm gonna build her a raised bed. So it's all his own idea. He knows it'll make me happy.
And you always get caught, Mike.
Well, if it makes her happy, he's gonna get good food.
He'll
So
want to do it, and it won't stay on the never-ending list that never gets done.
oh god, that list is so long. My list is long. Like
My
I
list
scratch
has
off
this.
1 and 3 magically appears.
Yeah.
The messed up thing is if I went to the store and picked up all the lumber and all the brackets and everything that I needed for the job, I'd have a job done in probably an hour. But I'm the type of guy, I'm like, I don't want to drive half an hour to get to the store and then half an hour back. Like, so I'll go out there and I'll find a bracket that's not right, and then I'll start like cutting it and coloring it into the shape that I need it into. And so I make stuff out here all the time.
Yeah. And then he has me too, because I like being frugal. And so I'm like, no, just use the skids or just use this. And he's like, oh, for the love of God.
We did that the first 3 years. Like I call it, I don't want to insult anyone, but we call it redneck.
Yes.
I would redneck everything. We went and we shopped. We went, we would go in the truck with his truck with the kids in the back, and we would go for the garbage. We picked up so many things in the garbage. I'm like, I hope no one recognizes me, or like we would go like in other villages near our house and we would pick up
so many people do it.
Yeah,
I know.
Yep. I love that,
because it's going to go in the dump anyways. And here in Canada, we are not allowed to go to the dump and pick up stuff. We have to either pay for it or we're not even allowed to use it.
There is in some areas. Like we have one about half an hour from us, and it's called the reuse center. So
That's
it's people,
nice.
yeah. And so it's at the dump, and people that don't want to, throw something out, like you can find windows there, doors, whatever. And they have a whole inside little thing that they built. So they have dishes and all that kind of stuff. And instead of throwing it in the dump pile, they threw it in there. So I know that different parts of Canada has that. You just got to look in your area. So
I don't think we have that in Quebec.
No,
I don't think so. I know there's 1-800 got junk. They go pick up stuff at your house and they bring the good stuff in a warehouse, and you can go there and visit and buy it. But the price there, if I am frugal and I go on Facebook Marketplace and I'm looking for something specific, I'm going to get it cheaper there. So instead of taking my car, driving 45 minutes to that location, spending gas time searching, I rather do it on the either Marketplace or like Craigslist and stuff like that.
And it's nice to know when you're looking for something in particular. So when it pops up, right? And so one of the things I did like about the dump thing was everything was free. And so all they asked was that you signed your name. And so hopefully it's still going on. I'm not sure with everything that's going on. They weren't open last year. I don't know where they're going to do this year. So hopefully, it'll come back, because one day I showed up there. I was 5 minutes late. There was 2 boats there. And I was like, someone threw these out? Okay, I'm totally taking them, right? I don't care how I have to put it on the truck. But
what were you going to do with the boat?
I was just going to put them on the back. I always wanted a boat. And so
you're going to do a boathouse like on blocks?
No, one was a kite, because we are in an area called the Land of Lakes. So we have lakes literally
1,000 miles?
It's called the Land of Lakes.
Oh, okay, not the same place.
No, it's I don't know how far we are from that. It's not too
just
far.
A bunch of small lakes all around.
Yeah.
Nice.
So I just wanted something for the water, and we got a small aluminum boat, but we didn't have one at the time, and I totally wanted one.
Yeah, one of our favorite places we actually found, it's just down a logging road. There's a private beach.
Nice.
On Crown land.
Yeah.
So, and only the locals really know about it because it's that well hidden.
Yeah.
Well, the question is, the beach can be beautiful, but is the water warm? Because the beach, the water has to be warm.
Yeah.
Well, it's Canada. It's warm for Canada.
Well,
No, I'm
yeah.
not, well, obviously it's not the tropics, but like if it's like always like 10 degrees, that's like cold.
No.
Yeah, no. It's in the summer, in the heat of the summer, it's really nice to go
Yeah.
down. So
Cool.
on the weekends it gets busy because locals told some people, and some people they keep going, and so you can go camp there though for like people go
Nice.
camp for like a week there. So it is really nice though. During the week it's quite quiet. So
Okay, I have 2 more questions for you guys. Well, maybe I have more after you guys answer me, but
Mhm.
if you had the chance and the resources and you would be able to restart, what would you do differently?
Would have stuck with our original plan on where to put the house.
yeah, for sure. So when we first came to the property, you came down our driveway and I wanted the house to be like right at the end of the driveway. And their land wasn't as good there, so it would have cost us more money to
I would have had to brought Phil in to build up
yeah.
to level it out a little bit.
Stabilize the okay.
So we moved it so that would have been facing the front, and back would be facing east and west. And so we moved it so now the back of the house is going to be facing south and the front is going to southwest, and then the front of the house is going to face I guess northwest. And so my dream greenhouse might not get as much sun as I was hoping. It's still going to go up. We're just going to have to be creative, and it'll definitely get all the afternoon sun. I just don't know, especially with the sun being lower right now. So everything was perfect, and I was able to visualize every single thing with the house going where it was going to go. And then plans changed, and now I just can't see it, and it's driving me up a wall. So I would definitely stick with our original plan.
Yeah.
Well, you might be surprised what you have once you start building it. You might
That's
see
why
something.
I'm not in tears yet.
So Mike, you know what Angie would really, really, really like?
Tell him, Remi.
Like wink, wink, right there.
And
Mama would be happy.
and move. No.
Would you do something differently, Mike, other than the location of the house?
I don't think so. Not really. Like
Not as far as building, no.
no. We've liked everything that we've come up with and decided on.
Mhm. Maybe what we might have done differently. So we're the type of people where we probably should have built the house first, but we didn't want to rush. So we probably should have at least put the shell up and then built the pole barn.
But knowing us,
Mhm.
we decided to do it the way we did for a couple reasons. One being, if we got the house up and then the house was done
Mhm.
and we were a little low on money, the shop would not probably
The pole barn, yeah.
the pole barn probably would have gotten, oh well, we'll do that later.
Yeah.
But now I've got the barn up. We have to have the house up, so we're forced to get the house up.
So if there's no, so we would work our butts off to finish the house. As like if we had to go find jobs or something, say the funds ran out. If we had to do that, then we will work our butts off to finish the house. But we wouldn't have worked our butts off to finish the pole barn.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So we have to have a house, and so we always give ourselves secondary things, and and so that's probably what we should have done, was at least built the shell of the house, and then built the pole barn. That, you know what I mean?
The shell, you mean the walls and the ceiling?
The walls, the roof, the windows and doors. We probably should have got that done first and then worked on the pole barn, because we could have got both of those things done. But
got us a really nice pole barn.
Yeah, a huge pole barn.
And what would be the tips, suggestions you would send out to someone that is looking to do that same leap of faith that you guys did?
Mine's a fairy tale.
Making notes.
Mine's a fairy tale type of suggestion. So when we put an offer on this house, it was kind of like, you want to do it? Okay, let's do it and go. And then all the thought process came in later of, oh my gosh, we're going to quit our jobs. What are we going to do for money? Who knows? But never would I have imagined that when we left our careers, left the city, bought this, cabin that was there for unattended for a couple years, and never would I imagine that we would be right where we are, building a house, a amazing community, livestock, everything. I couldn't see that in all the what if scenarios back when I was thinking before we moved. All I think of is all the negative. And so before, when we were still in our jobs, I was thinking like, what if we run out of money? What are we going to do? What if we're an hour away from a hospital? We knew nothing. And we took a complete leap of faith. And all the thought process before would be negative. And I couldn't picture being where we are right now. And now we're building our dream. We have great community. We're surrounded by a beautiful scenery, and trying it. Just our like one of our slogans is just getting there one day at a time. And so I couldn't see all that and thinking. So sometimes you do just have to stop the thought process. And if it's something you really want, then you have to go for it. I find there's always going to be what ifs. Well, what if the kids aren't done school? Like mine was our grandson, Tyler, taking aside all the like thinking about the money and the jobs and everything. So my grandson, Tyler, we were very, very involved in his life, and we still are, just further away. But my heart was really, really hurting. That we had to leave that. We had to leave our careers. We had to leave everything we knew, and we still did it.
How did you cope with that when you arrived at your location?
With like Tyler, like our grandson?
No, your mind, how did you deal with the what ifs once you were heading, like you were, knee high in the situation? How did you deal with the what ifs?
That's where, what if, so I have anxiety. And
like most of us that does this lifestyle.
Yeah. And so one thing I learned was anxiety's voice, and anxiety's voice will tell you all the crap stuff that you think is going to happen and doesn't. And so I have to basically talk to it and tell it, shut up. You don't know what's going to happen. You don't know. I couldn't picture any of this, right? If you
told that Disney movie that came out, the Silencio, my kids always watch it, Silencio Bruno or something like that, to that little voice inside.
Yeah.
You didn't watch that movie? No. It's from a Disney movie. Luca, he's telling another character to silence the voice in his head and say Silencio Bruno or something like that. I can't remember.
Yeah. You like, I don't know how to explain what I'm saying right now, but
it makes sense. I understand it.
Yeah, it'll tell you all the negative stuff, and then when you start dreaming about the good stuff, it'll come and creep back in and tell you don't think like that. But here, like, just getting there one day at a time, that's all you can do. And so all the what ifs, you have to say, if you let your negative what ifs take control, you have to talk to it and tell it, well, what if I move there and I'm absolutely in love with it? What if I move there?
Changing the negative what if to a positive what if? What if it works? What if it's your dream?
Or having a plan for even the negatives. So what if it doesn't work? Well, then we can sell our property and we can go buy something else.
Yeah,
true. And Mike, do you have any tips or suggestions?
Oh God, yes. And most of them I've learned from her, to be honest. Like, I'm bad for going out there. I have like a little ADD going on. So I'll go out and I'll be on one project and I have to go get a hammer or something. And I see something else. I'm like, oh, well, that's on the way back. So I'll grab this and I'll fix that. So I'll have like 3 or 4 projects go on the go. And I always feel like I'm in over my head. Mm-hmm. Like I'll get too much going on. There's just way too much. I don't know how I'm going to get it done. And it just feels like a mountain on your shoulders.
Mm-hmm. So a plan to help you guys.
Not just a plan, but what the biggest thing for me is I will overplan, and I will get caught in that trap where I will plan for a week, and it'll take me when she kicks me into gear and just tells me, go do it. Done is better than perfect. Mm-hmm. And so I'll go out there and I'll do it, and it'll take me like a couple hours to get it done.
But the chicken coop is a perfect example. When we first started getting into chickens, that chicken coop sat as a frame for like 2 months. And he was so hung up on making it perfect for me, which I mean, I'm like, build it with skids. I don't care. And so, but he was so hung up on trying to make it perfect for me. And then the chicken people called and said, well, we can give you your chickens early. Do you want them? And I'm like, okay, when? And they're like, well, can you pick them up tomorrow? And so guess who got the chicken coop done in a day instead of thinking about it? This guy.
Okay, my last question. What would be, it's in the same direction as the previous question. What would be the 3 first priorities when you buy raw land? When you arrive at your location, what would be the 3 first? Obviously, it's water. That would be number 1. But then what would be the other priorities?
There's a lot. I don't know.
Shelter. You have to think of something where you're going to stay and house, and
sure. You know, I always go back to what your uncle said. Like he's never bought a place unless he's walked the land.
Yeah.
And so knowing your land, knowing that you'll have a place that's up high enough and dry enough to build a place, a shelter or a home, knowing like what type of water sources you have around, things like that. There's a lot to be said for knowing the land itself.
So knowing the land, water, and shelter would be your top 3?
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say.
Remi, if you have questions, you can ask them. I'm just going to check through the comments because I've kind of missed a couple.
I'm taking notes. That's fine.
So yeah, my biggest suggestion, if you wanted to do something like this, have faith in yourself.
I want to do it. I just can't convince the kids and the husband.
See, when we first moved up here, our kids are all grown. So our baby is 20, she'll be 23 or 22. I can't, that's how old I'm getting. I know our babies are having babies. What was my point? Oh,
my husband and the kids are not on board.
Yeah. And so I think I was more on board than Mike was. And Mike liked the idea of getting out of the city more than living this kind of lifestyle, I think. And my kids were, oh yeah, you know, it's always what you wanted. But we got some good feedback, but we got a lot of like, I mean, you guys are older, or
yeah,
what are you going to do? Like, what's, you know, how are you going to see Tyler?
You're going to have always those types of comments. I had those. I left my career of 10 years on a leap of faith, and everyone was like, are you crazy? What are you going to do for money? Well, I'm like, I'm going to make it work. I'm going to be frugal. I'm going to be bulk buying. I'm not going to buy Scott towels, Ziplocs, and we're not going to go to a restaurant. Like when I was telling my siblings and my friends, they called me crazy. But like
you bring in so much. They don't understand that you bring in so much food, and food is so damn expensive.
Yeah, well, it's because it's not known. This lifestyle is not known. We are 5 years in. We had a 5-year plan to get out of debt. We're in December. It's going to be 5 years, and the 3 first years were so hard. When I say hard, I can't even describe how hard they were. I had to make decisions like, okay, I needed a pair of boots, but my kids also needed a pair of boots. Mm-hmm. So I sacrificed my pair of boots. And when I was going out and there's water, I was putting 2 pairs of socks in my boots. But my kids had boots because they were going to school. So I had to make a lot of those sacrifices. And in the world today where sacrifices is not something common, you get all those types of, well, what are you going to do for money? What are you going to do if you fail? What are you going to do if? I'm like, well, that's what I want to do. And if I fail, I'm going to figure something out. I'm going to find myself a job. I don't have a career. Like I don't have an actual diploma. And the diploma I have, I do not wish to work it. Like I studied tourism. And my specialty is to work in, like I would book trips for people.
Hospitality and
stuff like that. But like with everything going on, Expedia.ca and all the online things, I would have got fired like that. Exactly. So I decided to get myself another job and make myself useful. So I mixed my travel, my computer science background, And I used to work as a secretary for my father every single summer since I was like 16 years old. So I went into office assistant.
Yeah.
But I worked for 10 years and I had 4 weeks of vacation, all the good stuff. But I
Yeah.
was working 40 hours a week. I was commuting for 15 hours a week. So that's 55 hours a week away from home. I had 2 kids. I had a husband that had a very, an upset stomach all the time. He had de l'acide difficile. So I had to cook everything from scratch. And then daycare, school, homework. It only made sense when I got pregnant with my 3rd one to quit the rat race.
Yes.
And
And
just
see, everybody thinks that it's crazy to do what we're doing. Right. Well, not necessarily building a house. That what we did there was kind of like, want to do it? Okay. We were crazy. But I think, and to each their own, this is just what I personally think. I think it's crazy to go to work every day, not to go to work, but to go to work every day, to live in a house that you're barely in, work all these hours and have to keep up with the Joneses. And for me, that's just, I don't know, like for me, this is what living is. But you know what? I have one daughter that is completely citified and she absolutely loves living in the city, and that's what makes her thrive. And so it just depends on who you are. But I used to daydream every day moving to the country, even doing all this harder work as we're older isn't easy. That's another thing I'd recommend. I'd recommend being younger if you can help that. Like if this is the dream in your 20s, do it. But I used to daydream every day. As much as I loved my job, I used to daydream about coming here and doing something like this. And then I'd watch YouTubers and I'd be like, why can't it be mine? I want it.
Yeah, I had that.
Yeah.
And
I would say 2 years in, I
Mhm.
wanted it all. But
the bottom line of no matter what you do, the bottom line is you have to be happy. If you're happy to go to work every day, do that.
Yep.
If you're happy to stay home and build your own house and grow your own food, do that.
Yep. That's it.
well, with every decision comes sacrifices. So if you
Yeah,
decide to
I
work
do a little
9
bit
to
of both.
5,
Yeah.
you have to sacrifice something else. If you're at home and you decide to become a homesteader or create what you guys are doing from raw land, there's also another type of sacrifice.
Yeah.
Unless you come from a very fortunate money or you have money coming out of your ears, well, you have to make a sacrifice somewhere.
I was going to ask Remi, like, if you could choose to do more homesteading than working, would you choose that? Or do you like the balance you have now?
I keep telling my girlfriend if she had the same job I have now, I would stay home full time and homestead. I would love to do it. It's just I have a good salary for Northern New Brunswick. I make about $27 an hour, which is
Yeah.
awesome around here. I still have a big mortgage on the house, so this has to get paid.
Yeah.
There's still some things that I need to figure out before I can go all out. Maybe not off grid, but homestead full time. But the way I see it is everything I do now, I do it to learn, to get better, get ready, and
So you're
I'm
turning
probably going to retire
into a classroom.
Mhm.
yeah. And my plan is to retire when I'm about 55, 56 years old.
Yep.
And I work at the hospital, so I have a good pension plan there. So I'm going to be able to retire early, and I'm not going to make as much money as if I retired 10 years later, but
But if your house is semi-paid and you don't have that much debt,
Yeah.
well, I'm hoping my house is going to be all paid by then. I mean, that's
Right.
that'd be nice.
And the
See,
kids should be old enough.
That's where the only reason we were able to do this, because I will say this, Mike and I came from, so we've been together almost 17 years, and we lost everything in the recession of 2008. And so we were living in Michigan and we moved to Canada, and the shock for him for cost was just, he couldn't believe it. And so we completely lucked out when we first lived here. We lived in my parents' basement for a year and a bit. He couldn't work because he was an immigrant. And so we struggled, and then we ended up getting a place. And I just remember hey, you know what? I want to own a home one day. So this is where we were less than 8 years ago. I want to own a home one day. And so we just started putting a little bit of money. I think it was $25 a week away. And we just started putting the money in. And within a year, somehow magically, even with young children and having no money, not great jobs at the time, we managed to save almost $20,000. And we bought our first home. And so when we bought our first home, we didn't realize that when we bought it, there was a highway going just north of where we were moving. And so once that highway came in, our property value almost doubled, not quite doubled, but almost did. And so we were able to sell that home and pay off the cabin in cash and have a little bit of cushion. It wasn't much. It was enough to sustain us for like maybe a year. And then Mike did go out and find a job an hour away for a little bit, but then the shoulder surgery happened. So when we bought this land,
You were debt free.
yes.
Mhm.
And then but when we lived at the cabin, no, I don't think we've shared this on YouTube. So maybe we have in a live, but not many people know. When we were living at the cabin prior to just moving to this plot of land, we had $0. We couldn't afford to grocery shop. We couldn't afford to do anything. This was just in the summer. And we had to sell an ATV to make it until the sale of the land, because Mike had EI for a little bit, but then it ran out. I couldn't find a job. COVID
You
was
mean the transition between the sale of the cabin and the new land?
yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So just back in August. So we've been as frugal as we can. And so I'm saying that this because, again, you never know what the future is going to hold. We're trying to be as frugal as we can. We have a few things in place, but I don't remember why I started talking about this, but that's the way my brain works.
Well, I followed you. Like, you want to say in the suggestions to do, if you want to do this lifestyle, to have a financial cushion and to be as close as possible as debt free
Yes.
to make it happen, so that you don't have the stress of leaving a secure life to an unknown life and have the pressure of owing money to the bank. Because if having a leap of faith with the debt, it's like a huge stressful leap of faith. So if you want to make this a good experiment, to at least have a cushion financially.
Well, yeah, I think that's where I was getting to, because now, I mean, even if we had to go just get whatever jobs, like say our money was completely gone, we don't have, the only bills we have are the ones we choose to have. So we have hydro now, and we have our cell phones and stuff like that, but that's, thank God, the only way we're able to do this is because of the sale of the cabin. And it is debt free, but we don't have much expenses.
Yeah, we could make it on minimum wage jobs.
Yeah, even part-time each, because our
So-
bills are very, very low. So if we had to go back out and work, then we've set ourselves up that way. So everyone, we don't have a retirement plan. We don't have anything like that. And I do kick myself for that, because I would have had a great one at the college. And so that does, I would have had benefits and everything. And that, you have to think of that.
Honestly, like, since I don't know if I'm going back to work. My husband is able to take his retirement at 65. He is older than me. So since I'm not going back to work, and my pension plan for Quebec and Canada will probably be very little, I have to get like a plan B for me to complete the salary of my husband when he takes his retirement, which is in 15 years.
Yeah.
If he takes it at 65, or he could
I'm
take
gonna
it earlier.
retire at the same time as him.
Yeah, well, he is a little bit older than you, so he's 51 this year, so 14 years.
Yeah.
I'm gonna catch up on comments, because like I think I'm like 20 minutes behind on comments. I got Mix Fisher's shorts-tailed Weagles getting my coop in the past. That sucks. Thankfully, Bridget has only wanted me to eat beaver and not mink.
It all tastes like chicken.
tastes like chicken. That's what I do. Bucket list. We did. Okay, that's not for me. I would love a wood fire cook stove. We want to replace one of our wood stove with one. Big learning curve, but would love to have a cook wood stove. It's obviously a learning curve because we're not used to it.
Yes. Like we had nothing else but to cook on that. That's all we had to cook on.
I have a guest stove to have ready for wood. I have a small on-demand propane water heater that's pretty cheap with the pump. Yeah. We have owls that sits on our trees. That must be.
They eat chickens too.
That's what I say. They probably eat your chickens. I always try to take the part I am replacing with me to the store. I always do that too.
Yeah, you don't. That's the best way to do it. That's we do that all the time. And if I'm home, he'll constantly, if he doesn't have the part, he's like, "Can you send me a picture of that, please?" Or
if I can, when I have things to build on the homestead, I try to build it myself. I found it's good skills to have. Right on. He flew down Saturday on post on the chicken coop. Okay, that's the owl. Those reuse centers are great. None in Quebec. So I was right. I don't think there are some in Quebec, so he confirmed that. My husband's dad had a business where they would pick up junk and go to the dump and look through. It was amazing. It must have been good finds. Yeah. I am on the track of a dumpster. They put the state old solar panels in. It's outside the fence, so it should be nice.
Can I have your address?
Yeah.
He's in the States. We have a reused one here, but you have to pay for things. Okay, that's nice. Our dump doesn't do that. I got a vacuum that had been thrown out once. The power head was clogged. Instead of finding out what was wrong with it, the owner... That's ridiculous.
You know, lots of people do that stuff.
Yeah. There's a lot of stuff at our so the dump that has the reuse center is half hour from us. So our dump is quite local. And we go there and we're like, we just need that one thing. Can we take it? Like, I'll pay for it. And no.
You should go in tandem. I'll like distract them over here.
Our reuse store here in Ontario does not have great prices. Many things are quite pricey.
Yeah, down there. Yeah.
Laugh my ass off. Is the water warm? Well, yeah, I can for sure. Can. Fine. Okay.
I don't know why he says that, because he's from Michigan, and I found the weather was colder there, especially in the winter, than it's more in comparison to where we are now. But when we lived near Toronto, man, it was warmer in Toronto than it was where he came from. So you talk.
They let us do that here at the dump, but not where we used to live. I have to say, Angie, I love your mug. Yes, I love your mug. I don't know where you got it, but it's really nice.
A Michigan Potter. Mike got it for my birthday a couple years ago.
Same
set this one too. One.
Oh, we have a dumb question. What is a pole barn?
It is pole construction. So it's like a pole framing construction. So basically, instead of having just frame out a wall and stand it up and start framing out walls that way, you mount like poles into the ground or build everything off of just poles.
Like a temple structure.
Yeah. So it's much faster. And that's why like the Amish will do it, and they'll have a barn raising in a day or two, because it's quicker.
It's still, I think it's as secure. It's just not stick frame. So we have a couple videos out that you can go back and look at where it was before all the siding and stuff went up. But it just doesn't have as much structural. I guess.
You don't have as many 2x4s between the posts. We got like 8-foot sections between the 6x6s.
The main beams.
Main beams.
You remember the movie I was looking for, Silencio Bruno?
Encanto.
It's called Encanto.
Encanto.
I thought it was Luca. Wrong movie. Power of attraction. That is so right. I understand. Any negative can multiply and freeze you in place where you never accomplish things. That's so true. Yeah. My husband is a perfectionist. I always say I just need it done.
Done is better than perfect.
Yes, analysis paralysis. That's real.
That's it.
Raw land, water
Defense.
defenses, position, resources. True.
Yeah.
Well, I got a military background, so I can make a defensive position out of a berm.
Oh, the comments we get. I get told all the time I'm old fashioned. I say it isn't old fashioned. It's just people have forgotten how to be self reliant. Well, you see, I say it differently. I'm old fashioned by purpose. It's like I do this knowing that it's better for us.
Yeah.
It's not fast, but it's better for us.
Mm-hmm.
Homemaker duties can save enough for full-time wage.
Yep.
I agree.
I'm not sure what this one means. Pressure? I don't know. Probably the pressure
of it all, probably.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
Oh, the comments we get. Okay, this one is. What does this mean? Psst, the Jones are a whore.
Oh, I said keeping up with the Joneses. So it's trying to keep up with your neighbors, make, properties look good. And
yeah, if the neighbors have a BMW, you have to have a BMW.
Oh, God. Oh, the big American dream. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hello, Danielle. Hello.
Hi.
Mike, you damn immigrant. Yes, Tracy, hit the thumbs up for me.
Yes.
Bye, Annie. You're probably gone by now. Okay, I'm caught up. I had questions for Remi, but I have like 15 minutes left.
So I'll be quiet.
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead.
You'll be what?
I'll be quiet because I can chat all night.
Okay, Remi is in Nova Scotia, Canada. In
New Brunswick.
Sorry, what did I say? Nova Scotia?
Yeah, you said
Nova
Nova
Scotia.
Scotia.
New Brunswick. And you are like me, you homestead in your backyard. So we're doing like a raw land versus backyard. What did you do when you started? What was the first thing you started that you considered homesteading?
I started with a garden a couple years back, and I failed miserably. And then, when everything stopped 2 years ago, I had so much time on my hands. I figured, why not go and learn? Let's learn how to do it properly this time. And I started with just a little 6x8 garden. I had a little bit more success. I mean, I was able to grow carrots and radishes. It was a good start.
Mm-hmm.
And every year I go and buy the first couple of years I bought an apple tree and raspberry bushes. Following year I bought blueberry bush, and I started growing up my garden, and then I figured I'll change it. I put it somewhere else. Didn't work better, but it was, at least I had a little bit more space. And that's the way I went from there. Just grow. The garden is bigger. I have more raised garden beds everywhere. A couple of small gardens on the ground here and there, and try to have as much fruit trees as possible, and try to hide my chickens.
What chickens?
I don't know.
I
have rabbits now.
You don't have chickens, right? You don't have chickens?
I don't even know what it looks like.
Okay, if what would be the recommendation if someone would ask you where to start? What would you recommend?
With everything that happened to me, I would say make sure that you don't have close neighbors. Make sure your neighbors don't see what you're doing. Seriously, you need to be sure that whatever you want to do, you're allowed to do it, because, there's always a bylaw somewhere that, can ruin everything. And make sure you have a lot of land to grow whatever you want to grow. I have 5 kids that want to play outside, so I have to give them some space. But if I want to grow some stuff, I also need some space. And my property is going downwards. So on the little hill there's not much I can grow, and I lose that space. But if I knew 3 years ago what I was gonna do, I would have probably planted all my apple trees down there. You know,
Mhm.
even if they're on an
Because-
incline, it doesn't really matter.
Well, it would hold the land, and with the water going off the slope, it would water and bring down the sediment and the nutrients to your apple trees.
Exactly. But this is all stuff you learn as you go, right?
Yeah, true. Or you can do like what's his name? Land. He built raised bed on the slope of his hills. It's mathematical stuff, like you have to figure out how to do it, but he was able like to do like steps of raised beds in the slope on his land.
I remember that video, and it's something that crossed my mind, but I'm thinking more and more on going with the apple trees down there. I mean, it's never too late to grow fruit trees. I'm
No.
just waiting to see what's going on because my house is still for sale.
Well, true. It's not the time to invest in a tree
Yeah.
that you will not be able to benefit for.
But
Yes.
if things don't move forward in the next couple of months, I'm probably just going to say, F it, and I'll keep the house. I'm going over with my buddy Serge anyway to grow some. We're going to build a pole barn and grow some animals there. So I have a plan B, and worst comes to worst, the kids are going to be happy to stay here, and
Well, if you have like you can have both of two worlds. You can have your house, the security of your kids staying in the same school, but if you have access to land less than 15 minutes from your house, you have it all. You just have to drive the 15 minutes.
Exactly. Well, it's not even 15 minutes, really. It's 4 minutes and a half from here.
Oh wow.
Yeah, well, 5 minutes in a snowstorm is still 5 minutes in a snowstorm.
Yeah, and we had a talk about that yesterday morning. My buddy and I, we went for a small drive, and in the winter, he's not working. So it'd be easier for him to go there in the winter, make sure, the driveway is cleared, and
Okay.
you could go feed the animals during the day. And in the summer, I mean, it's easier for both of us. I'm usually up at 6. I work at 8 o'clock, so I can go there, feed the animals, or when I get back, I mean, it's only dark at 10 o'clock, so I can still go there and feed the animals at night. And on the weekend, like you said, it's probably going to be there every time, every chance you get. And I mean,
What
I'll
will you
have my
do?
garden to take care of, but
What will you do if you sell your house?
well, if someone comes in with an offer that I can accept, I have to find something that suits me. And the conditions that we have right now is it has to be somewhere where the kids can go to the same school. They don't want to switch school, and that's a condition that the family had, and I want to respect that.
Okay.
And I have to find a place where I can actually have my animals, but at the same time, I mean, I have 5 kids. And here they all have their bedrooms. So
That's
if
a
I
lot of rooms.
yeah, it is. And it's amazing. And I know it's gonna be hard to find, but at the same time, it doesn't mean that if I buy a house that doesn't have the 7 bedrooms or 6 bedrooms, it doesn't mean that it can't be done. So I have to look for something that there's a possibility there.
Serge
Right
would
now,
not
the
let
kids
you
all
build?
sleep in the living room. What?
Serge would not let you build on his land?
Oh, he told me that yesterday morning. If I wanted to, he would probably sell me like 2 acres where I could build a house, but building is so expensive now, and I mean the kids don't want to go in a house where they don't have the
Running
luxury
water.
that they have now. You know what it is? Like, I mean, the kids go to school, they don't want to get bullied because they don't have a nice house. You know what I mean? Like, and I get that. I mean,
Yeah. Well, it would be an intensive summer for sure for you to self-build.
yeah, but it doesn't mean that I'm 38 years old. If I retire at 55, I mean I only have like 17 years ago. 17 years. My youngest son is 8, so he'll be 25. I mean, he should be done college or university, whatever he decides to do. And from there, I won't have that, financial burden on me. And I can just decide to sell the house here, maybe for cheaper than what I can sell it today. And who knows?
Well, at least for this summer, you have it all.
Yeah,
And
I'll be able to have my animals
and you will actually have the experience of building a pole barn and building from scratch. So if ever you do move or have a future project, you'll have the skills.
And the way that we're thinking about doing things right now is he has a small chicken coop at home. He wants to bring it there, and my little barn shed that I have behind the house, which I think is like 12 by 16. I want to bring it there also. And by having
your
those
mini
two small
barn.
buildings, we'll be able to build a pole barn in the middle. That's the
Nice.
plan anyway.
Right.
Well, at least you have a plan. I'm
Yeah.
still here. I won't be moving anytime soon for sure.
You never know. You never know. You
And
can have an opportunity come up.
Well, for us to actually think before moving, we had conditions. We needed the car payment to be paid.
Check.
That was checked. That feeling, I cannot possibly start to define how happy I was. On February 20th, I was car-free payment.
woohoo!
That has not happened since I was 23 years old or 24 years old. So I had cars after cars after cars, payments after payments after payment.
Mhm.
So on the 20th, I called my bank and they told me, well, I thought I had 1 or 2 payments left. And he told me, no, Madame Poirier, your car's paid. It's yours. I'm like, yay! You just made my day. So that was checked last week. And the debt, we consolidated debt when I stopped working to bring down the payments, because like we were paying everywhere. And because of whatever's going on, when my husband's job went from 60 hours a week to 38 hours a week, we were not allowed to have any financial help. I was not allowed because I was working. So we had to live under credit. So we have to pay that. So until those 2 things are paid, no decision can be taken, because like I don't want to do something stupid. Like we've been like up to here every single year, and now we're starting to breathe. We don't want to start doing something else that will put us in a situation that we're going to go back. So just having the house to pay, and I have to plan my future because I don't have a retirement. And after that, we're going to sit down and see what would be our next step. But we're not there yet, so we'll see.
But stay positive. I mean, keep the focus on a positive thing. I mean,
well, I have an open mind to it. I have an open mind to it. I did say to Angie, whatever they're building, the house they're building, that's what I would love to do. I always wanted
I will say this. It's okay. Prices did go up, but for the logs, for example, how much do you think just the logs cost for the cabin?
1 log?
No, like all of them.
A couple
I don't even
of
know that. I don't even know the square footage of your house,
in
but I would say
5 digits, maybe 6.
It is for our house is 24 by 32, so it's 32 feet long, and then 24 from front to back. So 750.
They're what?
It's 750 square foot.
Okay.
On the bottom, so 1,500 square foot home, top and bottom floor.
I would say it's at least 5,000 to 15,000.
Oh, more than
for the logs.
Just for the logs, not the lumber, just the logs.
It was 13,000.
Oh, it was not bad. But does that include the insulation? Like when you put the logs, there's like a little insulation.
There's a strip in between,
Yeah.
but
you have to buy that, or that came with the logs?
They came with. No,
it's not a kit. What we did is we bought a load of logs that were milled, and then so they're planed and milled to what we needed them for. So it didn't come with anything. We bought the logs, and then we went and bought, and it's just it's like a styrofoam backing or a foam backer, and then you just run it and staple it in. So that's only like a couple $100. Really.
Yeah, I was gonna say for like the 13,000 that did the main floor. So if you only do a 1-story log cabin instead of a 2-story like we're doing, it would be probably like 13,000 for the logs, which is, but a lot of people think it's a lot more.
Well, I always thought it's not the logs that is the more expensive; it's the labor. It's the labor that you have to pay for that are usually you have cost of labor and you have cost of lumber. Sometimes cost of labor is 2 or 3 times more than the actual cost of the lumber. So if you're doing it with yourself and some friends, you can cut the cost quite fast.
Right.
And the concrete slab is also another big investment.
It is.
How much was that? Like
well, yeah, it'll be around 5, I think, for the slab. Now, what I found though is that the labor for putting the logs up, that's simple. That's not hard at all.
The logs weren't hard to connect together.
So you cut like at the intersection. You're the one that takes the chainsaw and cuts.
Yep. And so where you're really going to spend more money on a log home for labor is when you come to your plumbing and when you come to your electric.
Yeah.
Right? Because it's hard to run channels. Whereas in just a regular house, like a stick frame house nowadays, you can just run wires through the walls and then hook the drywall up.
Yeah.
Well, my husband has a background in electricity and piping, but he does not have the experience of a log home. So obviously that would be a learning curve. But that's what he does.
Mike and Angie to go help you.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I'll go down that direction if it happens. I obviously will have a lot of questions. When I don't know what I'm doing, I ask thousands of questions.
Darren.
Yeah, I think a lot of people, like, I mean, it is a lot of money, and we just happened to luck out with timing in both houses that we purchased. So with the cabin, when we purchased it, we got it for a decent amount of money, and we were able to make like more than double.
Yep.
Yeah, we made. Do you care if I tell how much? So we bought the cabin with 13 acres for 90,000, and then we sold the cabin with the 3 acres for our profit was 218. And so that's how we're able to build all of this. But we've also had to like buy a trailer, buy the backhoe, like, so we're going to probably have both, once it's said and done, both the pole barn and the cabin done probably for about 100, I would say. Maybe a bit more. Like, we have to sit down because there was a lot of things that went
around 120, 130.
Yeah.
But you don't count your hours of labor.
No,
but we don't also have hours of labor somewhere else right now too. So
true. But you're learning something even more valuable. Like when you're gonna sit on that porch that first night with your glass of wine and whatever you're gonna have for dinner that night, I can picture you crying about like of everything you had to go through, all the goods, the bad, the ugly, the troubleshooting, and that glass of wine, I'm sure is going to be epic.
Once I am able to sit and reflect, it might be a few glasses of wine.
Or screw at the bottle.
Screw it.
I'm sure it's going to be an amazing feeling though.
Remi, would you do the raw land? Would you, if you had the chance, would you do it?
If the family wanted to follow, I would definitely do it. I mean, it's.
You think you should do it?
Every homesteader's dream, basically, is to go and do that life. So, I mean, I've been watching like Mountain Man and all those shows, and Alaska Last Frontier, and what they do is just incredible. I mean, it's a different type of work.
Mm-hmm.
You have to put in so much hours, but you work for yourself. If you want to take a break, if you're not feeling well, you take a break. If you want to go take a shower, you go take a shower. If you want to stop to eat, you stop to eat. You don't need to worry about the phone. You don't need to worry about, all the rest that comes with it.
I think I have that mentality. I have to remind him of that, though. I'm like, do you remember when we lived in the city and you'd have an hour and a half commute some days, or sometimes he'd have to sleep at the store where he worked because it was a snowstorm, and Toronto was just too much for this guy. And so I'll remind him of that all the time. Like, hey, right now, like, we are going to have to find income in shortly, but right now, like, look at even our commute. If you have to drive an hour, everything's bush. Right. So in the winter, it can be scary, but but
how did you deal with when you arrive? When you sold everything, you arrived at your land with your trailer. how did you deal with I want everything now? You know, when
Oh.
you started when you put like the first pole of your pole barn, like I'm sure like you wanted it done now so that all the projects could get done faster. How did you deal with that word patience?
Well, when we first moved up here from Toronto area, we lived in the cabin, and I had that mentality, and I just had to remember, nope, we got to build this has to take its time. We're going to fix the cabin up, we're going to make the layout exactly what we want it, and I knew it couldn't be done overnight, and so I just dealt with the patient. But if I had to come here and start fresh, like if say we left town and did what we're doing now, I don't think I would have had the same amount of patience, because I just don't. it was a struggle, and we had shelter when we first did it, right? So we had that log cabin when we first did it, and I learned.
Yeah, the first week when we were out here, we didn't even have a camper.
Yeah.
We borrowed a toy trailer, so it was just like a straight box trailer from a
Interesting.
friend of ours.
Yeah.
And we threw our mattress in the back of it.
And I just went to cutting trees and making sure the animals were taken care of, and built them something temporary, and just kind of carved it out. Like,
that's what I struggle the most now, the word temporary. Everything we're doing, because like we don't have the funds, we have to redneck everything. So like we start with a setup. And then my husband says, oh, this is temporarily until blah blah blah. So like I did this temporarily until blah blah, and like 5 years in, I'm like, I'm so tired of temporary. Like I want something stable, finished, so I can move on to the next project. But like now I understand that homesteading is never ending.
It's like Ecocentric just said there, and it's hard because I mean, Mike and Angie, you guys are doing it all out. You have so much work to do, but the two of you are doing it together. I think that's probably one of the most important thing. Annie and I are doing, the homestead life with, like, Hanny has her husband working. She has to take care of the kids while homesteading. I have a full-time job while homesteading. It's two different worlds, and they both have their ups and downs, but it's hard to be 100% self-sufficient when you have to get that life as well. Like, as you guys right now, you're working hard, but when everything is done, you'll be full-time working on the homestead.
I'm not sure they're going to be done. There's always something.
No, of course.
Well, when I lived in town, when we lived before we came out here, Mike really didn't have, because he worked a lot. He worked sometimes 70 hours a week. Sometimes it was smaller, but it was me doing all of that stuff. So when I came out here, I was more joyful about it. And when he came out here, he was just like, oh man, I got to build stuff. I mean, I thought I knew how, and so Mike works very well independently. So all the building stuff I don't help with usually. You might see me in a couple videos, more of a here's what they've done, but he's more independent, and I'm the one that's doing all the, making sure he's fed, making sure things are running smoothly. And so I still have my own job. There's not a lot right now that we do together. And I think with him too,
we've actually started.
We started because I wouldn't shut up about it.
But you're working as a team, though.
Yeah, but working as a team can sometimes be working each on a project.
Yeah.
I had one last question for the two of you, but first I'm going to catch up on the comments.
Okay.
Yes, asked questions about restrictions that may be on the property. We have a saying, it's better to ask for forgiveness than permission. That can actually go sideways sometimes. Can you grow a cover crop lawn where your chickens play?
I could.
But it's so small that they would massacre it within a day. Be careful planting down slopes. The cold goes down and the plants have issues with that. Oh, yes. I didn't know that.
Depending on where the slope is. So if it's is it south facing? Yeah, it'll be warmer, I think.
That's an issue.
Yeah.
It's facing north.
It's easier when the kids are grown. Yeah.
But one of my regrets too is I wish that I had done it sooner so that they could grow up like this.
Yeah.
But they'll see it though.
They do, and then now we have a couple of them that actually want to live the country life. So we have 4 kids combined, and now we have a couple of them that are like, I really do want to move to the country. But
That's nice.
We'll be able to show the grandkids though.
Yes.
I just rented a 4-bedroom house in Port Layton, New York. Animals are okay, chickens, pig, and all. I'd evict for Remi, come to Saint-Raymond.
That'd be nice, but long bus drive.
Yeah. Mike is just sitting looking smug like, yeah, I'm an immigrant. He's nice.
America.
We are car payment free in March. I can't wait. Like,
Congratulations.
that is like, I had a car and then I realized it was not big enough. So 6 months in, I changed. And then I got pregnant with baby number 3 and we changed. So we were never finished paying the car. So I would have like a balloon from the car before. Yeah. So I was paying $12,000 more on my 3rd car. And they kept asking me, do you want to change your car? Do you want to change your car? I'm like, my payments are so freaking high right now. And I do not want to reach $700 a month for a car. There's like, I was nearly $700 for a car per month because of the balloon that I was picking up every single month. It was crazy. It was 6.
Well, that's pretty much what we pay here too.
No, sorry. It was 600, not 700. But it's still $600. Like, I would only pay normally a car 300, 400, but because of the balloons, I was always adding more.
If you'll take it, they'll keep giving you more and more.
A lot of people right now are actually selling their vehicles if they have something backed up because they'll actually give you more than what it's worth.
Well, not at the time. Let's just say I would say like $13,000 left to pay on it. Mm-hmm. They would give me 8.
Yeah. Well, no, I mean right now because
now
shortage. Yeah.
I don't know. I didn't care. I wanted to be out over payments. But for sure, Quebec is cheaper than New Brunswick on a lot of things. Labor and hardware like nails, doors, windows, sheet metals for roof and trusses. So I'm guessing he's saying labor and hardware is more expensive.
Yeah, a lot of the stuff right now is more expensive. Yeah,
we are looking at putting a sunroom on our house. A concrete slab for it was going, holy cow, $10,000.
That is city prices because we did not pay that for the house at all.
Well, we could also back a cement truck right up to the house and then just have it poured right in. Whereas in the city, maybe in a backyard, you'd have to like mix it all by hand.
Well, even when my mom was going to do her driveway, and she has a 1-car driveway that she shares with her neighbor, long story short, it was going to be more for that little concrete driveway than it was for our entire basement.
Ridiculous.
Main floor, yeah. Yeah.
Bye, Darren. I must have missed you by now. Remi, I think I will have to join your seed addict group. I bought more last week.
I messaged Annie yesterday. I'm like, I have so many tomato seeds. What do you need? I'm like, I'm a seed addict too.
My name is Annie. I'm a seed addict.
My name is Angie, and I'm okay with everybody's seed addiction.
Wendy and I cut our homestead out of 20 acres woodlock ourselves and my brother only. Wouldn't change a thing. Yeah. That's nice.
Absolutely.
I can't even handle driving through Toronto. That's hectic.
Yeah, it is.
I understand. That's not for me. Remember, a homestead will never be done, for sure. I wish my boyfriend could be with us full time. We're so more efficient. It's true. Mm-hmm. I described to my husband what I want, and he built it. That's nice.
Lucky you.
Lucky you, right? I know, little homestead by the beach. It's past 7:30. I sent a message to my husband to say I needed a little bit more time because this conversation I can't cut right now. I know
Tell me
my
it'll make you happy. You know, it'll make me happy, honey. 20 extra minutes.
yes. Let's hope the kids cooperate.
Right.
They could back right up here, but we're told concrete is very expensive. Hello, Billy Lee.
Hi.
Hello.
Okay, my last question for you guys is, well, it's a two-part question. What knowledge did you acquire before starting what you did, and what knowledge would you like to acquire? Who wants to go first?
I really didn't. Well, I tried.
Oh.
I tried to learn construction. So I delved into it at work. I talked to contractors that at the place that the store that I was managing. So I would constantly question everybody. When I got out here, I realized that practical knowledge is different than
Country knowledge.
actual. I'd never put it to practice. So I'd never put any of that information into practice.
Mhm.
And actually getting out there and building something
Yeah.
it was much different. But if you can do it, just jump in and do it. You will learn every day, more as you go, and you'll get better and better.
So you learn more by being 2 feet in than by before just reading about it.
The easiest way to put it is I had never owned, I had never driven, and I had never seen, except for on TV, a backhoe in operation. And I bought one and just started using it.
Yeah. The knowledge I think I wish I had, it's funny because I used to do office admin in various areas before moving here. And I'm very organized for everyone else. I don't know how to organize our lives. So it goes back to the placement of the house. I had everything. I had already seen it all. And if we had taken more time, we kind of did things when we moved to the land. We kind of did things like, you want to sell the house? Okay, it's sold. Let's move. And so we had a dream of it being a certain way, but we didn't sit down and do a lot of the planning that we do now. So I find our planning comes much later than it should. And I wish that I was a better planner for ourselves because I think we'd be a lot more efficient that way.
Do you know what helps? It's called a book.
It's called, I have a basket of books. I go to the dollar store and I can't leave the dollar store without buying a book to write in. My lists have lists. I have planners, agendas, digital things, a basket of books.
The important thing, do you use them? Because
every day.
For example, like tonight's live for myself is planned. Like I had like a direction I wanted for the live. But like after writing it, if I don't use the book, there's no point.
Oh, you gotta get your other planner?
I gotta get my other book.
Your other planner?
Yes, my another planner. So this
oh God, how many planners do you have?
Well, this was just a notebook. But I've got
this week or in total?
Yeah. Yesterday I sat down and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna plan everything. So this is everything I'm gonna plant. And so I did that anyways. My problem is, I think, not that I can't plan. My problem is follow through sometimes.
Well, that's what I meant by you have to actually make the planner, but you always have to use it.
I use it, but I'm so like, oh, it didn't get done today. I could do it tomorrow.
So use the planner, but maybe not the plan.
No, I'll use it too. It just, like say I have 5 tasks that I have to do that day.
Yeah.
I might get 3 of them done, but I might get 20 of another one done. So the plan never goes according to plan.
And I work just the opposite. I can't stand sitting down and thinking about how I want to do something. I just go out there and start doing it. And then I'm like, okay, you know what? This will actually work better.
Look at our house situation.
It's up.
Yeah, it's up. But now your wife's greenhouse is going to be southwest.
And well, it could have been worse. Southwest is not that bad.
In order to get sun to it, we have to cut down a forest. Whereas before it was all perfect.
Of all the firewood we get.
Very true. So when Remi and all them come down, y'all, I'm gonna let you guys Just, if you want to take down 2 trees, I won't complain. You can come.
Go, Remi. Go, Remi.
I'll bring my machete. Go have some fun.
You can let your frustrations out on our trees.
Oh, nice.
Remi? I have like about 5 minutes left, but do you want to answer the question? What knowledge did you acquire? What knowledge did you have before, and what knowledge would you like to acquire?
I didn't really know anything about any of this when I started. It was just, okay, I need to do a garden, so I'm going to learn as I go. And then I realized, okay, this is homesteading, so I want to go and do more. So I bought chickens, and then I wanted to do more, and I bought pigs, and then I wanted to do more, and I bought rabbits. And I'm always way over my head, but I always end up, doing what I have to do because of the community, because of all you guys. Because, I mean, Annie, I ask you how many questions during the day, like 50 questions a day. And, that's how
I asked
my answers.
The questions that you asked me, I asked Mr. Google, and Mr. Google, like, they're up here, and then I tried some of them, and then I actually the person that raises my pig every year, I asked him about the chicken called, it's a white one. Anyways, it was a breed of chicken, and I was curious about it because I wanted the meat aspect of it.
Cross?
No, it's a Quebec.
Okay.
It's a white one, Chanticleer. So
Yes.
I wanted to know. I want to build a Chanticleer livestock at my house, and like for the meat and all. Like, anyways. So he said he diverted, and then he said he was raising pigs, and it was costing him way too much. And I never raised pigs, but I know that Joel Salatin and Justin Rhodes raise pigs.
Mm-hmm.
So I told him, do you know about these guys? You can follow courses. They're not that much expensive, and you will actually have a better overall success by selling your pigs, and you will make more money instead of taking money out of your pockets.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know anything about pigs, but I saw something about pigs, and I forward that information to him, and now every year he sells me a pig. So because I shared the knowledge, the minimum knowledge I had from what I watched from their vlogs, he was able to start and convert his stagnant installation onto a pasture, and he cut down his cost. And then from there, with the money he saved, he did the Joel Salatin course.
Yeah.
And now he has a very profitable operation for, I think he has like 15 or 20 pigs. But it's only because I shifted information.
Yeah.
So when people ask me some questions, sometimes I never personally experienced it. It's just I watched it and I just share the knowledge.
And to me, the day I was able to remove the barriers is the day, for one, I found my gardener, Luke.
Yep.
He has a video about basically everything you want to grow. And then I was looking for a way to reduce my cost for chicken feed. And I ended up on one of Justin Rhodes' video where he was visiting a guy that had over 600 chickens, and he was never feeding them because they were just eating in the yard. And I'm like, okay, so there's something that can be done here. And from there, I started learning more from those two guys, and here I am today. I know what I know because of basically those two.
Yep.
I think the skill I would like to learn, and I will finish with this because I got another message from my husband, and the kids are like going crazy downstairs. I would like to be more self-sufficient on certain specific things. I would like to try the sourdough and certain fermented kefir, water kefir and milk kefir. Not sure if that's going to go right, but I'm going to try it. And to conquer my fear, like Angie did, of pressure canning.
Yeah, that's one of my plans too.
Yes, I have the canner. Like, it's in the box. It's brand new. It's
I
there.
gave my first canner away because I never used it. And then I was like, but I want a pressure can. I got to do this. So when our daughter came up to visit us from Michigan, I had her bring me an all-American canner. And
Lucky.
So, and then after I bought it, Mike's dad told me, if you come to visit, we have one here for you for free. I was like, what? So, yeah, I'll have two soon one day.
Well, someone gave me one, but the parts that needs to be replaced are no longer available online because 2 years ago everyone wanted to pressure can. So I can't find the gasket and the plug, but I did buy a new one. It's the Miro one. You mean the gasket? What goes in the cover, and
Well,
the plug.
Oh, okay. Yep.
The the safety plug, the red one.
Yep.
I need to replace that one because when someone gives you a pressure canner that's been in their basement for many, many years, you don't really know if it's gonna work. So the gasket is like $20 and the plug is $15. So I'd rather pay that and have like a brand new canner that's safe than just testing it and it not working.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I think did I catch up on anyone? Yep. Yeah, works on paper often doesn't work in real life. That's so sure.
Yeah.
That's so true.
I'd
But
look at that.
I write a list, but when I do stuff, I put it on the list and check it. That
I
way
do
I
that
can
too. I have a checklist of things that I need to get done, and I only see that I've done the 3 out of 5 things. So I put all the stuff that I did else for that day, and then I go and check it because I have to feel complete.
No comment. Pressure canning is hard. I was so scared of pressure canning, but I finally started it. Nice.
Yeah.
Well, thank you guys, everyone, for coming. I had a blast, and now my kids are screaming like crazy downstairs. So I'm gonna have to let you go for real now. Take care, everyone.
Take care, everyone.
Hey
Good
guys,
night.
thanks for having us.
Bye.
Bye guys.